Well, I'm kind of in shock here. Um, Mr. Handpay, Jason Bulke, I think that's how he pronounces his name. It's Boulke, I think. I'm not absolutely sure about that. But anyway, he and I are not buddies or anything. He seems like a real nice guy. But boy, he is a serious high roller. And he bets in a way that I could not possibly sustain. A very narrow spread, basically between 200 and 20,000, which a lot of people will say, oh my God, that's a huge amount. But it's not, because it's only 1 to 100, which is not enough for these house games. If you have a spread of 1 to 100, they will kill you. And this is the whole reason why they have table limits. It's like Jason sometimes will say about the games that he steps up to. He'll say, well, they have a great spread here because they allow bets from 500 to 10,000. Well, that's 1 to 20. That is useless. Absolutely useless. But anyway, down to cases here. Right now, 1,083 bets into this particular model. I've just wrapped up with his latest at Foxwoods, which cost him $55,000, and it was a horror story, an absolute horror story. If we go down and we have a look down here, the third shuffle, the house had an edge of -5, which amounted to 31% for the house. The second shuffle, the second shoe, was -4, which was 9% for the house. And the first shoe was -25, which was 43% for the house. Now, the whole point of this little exercise is for me to demonstrate that if I try using the pattern betting strategy, if I try to mimic his very narrow spread, then I will get killed as well. But the whole point of pattern betting is to say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start low. Every time we turn around, we fall back to a minimum bet, which, for convenience sake, I've set at throughout most of the games that I play and the demos that I put online. You'll see the minimum is 25 and the maximum is somewhere around 50,000, which will seem crazy to some people. But the whole point is you make your money from the big bets. The little bets are just kind of a warm-up. And the wider the spread that you have, the more chance that you have of beating negative expectation. If you don't have a wide spread, you cannot, in the long run, beat negative expectation. The other thing that will kill you with negative expectation is if you bet randomly against random outcomes, you will die a death. It might take a while, but you will be wiped out. If you try a really clever strategy like pattern betting is, then it's basically just a kind of a constrained, controlled, or restrained, or whatever you want to call it, a managed progressive betting strategy, then that alone won't save you. You need huge bucks, a big bankroll, and you also need a consistent, disciplined, reliable, viable, proven strategy. Okay, so now the exercise here is going to be, I'm going to drop the minimum to 25, right? And then I'm going to pull the maximum to 25,000. And what happens? Big difference. I mean, it's insane. And I just don't know what to say to Jason. He's not going to listen to me anyway, because he's in the business of drama and excitement and all the rest of it. And he did say to me in one of our exchanges, because we had been back and forth a couple of times, he did say that he had some bloodbaths coming, and by golly, he wasn't kidding. And he also said that you know, he does a lot of things to keep the audience happy, to keep people clicking and subscribing to his channels. He has two, one gambling channel and one which is sort of like a family channel, which is very sweet and interesting and all the rest of it. But of course, the reality of these gambling channels is that none of them would exist if the casinos didn't believe that they were helpful to them in bringing in suckers, in bringing in customers. And so all of these guys, Jason included, are carnival barkers.
Someone is at the front door.
Oh, fiddle and fart. Okay then, well anyway, simple enough to stitch these two things together, I guess. I'm not the world's greatest editor, but I think I'm sort of pretty much on top of it. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, you know, these guys are all carnival barkers. They're in the business of bringing in customers for the casinos, and when they pretend otherwise, it's insulting, it really is. But, you know, that's how it is. I mean, Jason, for instance, he gets... what the hell did they used to call it when I was going to Vegas regularly? RFB, I think, room, food and beverage, or maybe it's FBR, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's lots and lots of freebies, lots and lots of encouragement, applause, being treated like royalty and all the rest of it. And the only reason you get that, of course, is if you're providing a service for the casinos. Nothing is for nothing in life in general, and in the casino business, by golly. You know, you are only as good as what you do for them. What have you done for me lately, and all the rest of it. I mean, like the old Hollywood expression. But anyway, you can see what happens if you drop down to a sensible spread. And as I said, what happens is, of course, that if you've got a wide spread, then you don't make money with the little bets. You make your money when, you know, you get into heavy-duty country. And what's interesting to me here is that Jason's action, that's over HP here, is 1.6 million, whereas pattern betting doesn't even manage $500,000. My risk with pattern betting set to sensible parameters is 18,000. And he's been 32,850, nearly 33,000 into the hole, and his last session, in fact, cost him 55,000. 53,450, according to my numbers. He put it at 55,000, but then I think he had a couple of side bets in there somewhere, so that's probably where that money went. But as far as in the last sessions, the last three shoes of Jason's, let's go up to, yeah, here's the beginning of the session at Foxwoods. When you come down to here, in the first shoe, he lost 48,200. And with the parameters set correctly, pattern betting won almost 12,000 against the same shoes. Against the same cards, I beg your pardon, the same outcome. And let's just look at how the outcomes worked out. Jason, and of course I can only go along with Jason, I have no choice about his bets. I can choose my amounts, but I can't, you know, I can't sort of say, well, I'm not going to bet against that and I'm going to bet against this. There is, oh, I should say, there is one important difference, and that is that I only bet the first base bet, the left-hand bet, because he often goes off into 2 or 3 or whatever. I ignore those. I want nothing to do with them, because he bets excessively.
This is a reminder.
Alexa,
drink water.
Stop. He bets multiple hands, and that's just suicide. It's just daft. But you know, it's his money. It's his choice. I mean, I've been saying that for years. Second shoe. Oh yeah, I was going to say, yeah, 25 minus 25 minus 43%. That's the house edge. And pattern betting still came out almost 12,000 ahead. That's because of the whole principle being, you must win more when you win than you lose when you lose, because otherwise losing more bets than you win is going to do serious damage and probably take away your entire bankroll. In the second shoe, Jason lost 2,250 and pattern betting won just a shade over 10,000. The house advantage was not quite as huge, it was 8.7%, and remember that normally in blackjack you're looking at about somewhere around half of 1% negative expectation, so why Jason stuck with this is completely beyond me. And then in the last little bit, because he gave up after about halfway or less than halfway through the third shoe, he lost 3 grand. The house advantage was 31%. Jesus Christ. I mean, why he would stick with this is just completely beyond me. But anyway, he did. He chose to. So I lost, pattern betting lost 1,125. But if you look here, we are looking at right now an uncollected, unresolved 1,250 loss, and in the next session that I pick up from Jason, you can be sure that that will turn around. So anyway, to go back to before, if I try to mimic Jason's bets, I am dead, absolutely chopped liver, destroyed. Here you can see that at one point I went, and you can see it here too, 18,000 into the hole, and that's about here. Yeah, 17,863. You can't, I don't think you can see that drop down on these, yeah. So take it from me anyway, it's, you know, and then this one here is 5,213, that's at 0.682. So we've had, you know, we played 1,000 rounds together, and I've looked at some of Jason's bets, and his money, his choice. He's also involved in providing entertainment and drama and all the rest of it, and I have absolutely zero interest in that. But just to go back to what I was saying before, if I bet a 200, that's over here, and then here's max over here. Oh, we doo-doo, big trouble, big trouble, terrible idea. But then we go back to common sense, and that's what we get. So right now Jason is 19,500 ahead since the 15th of March, and he's looking at a 1.2% return on his churn, you can call it, or total action, all his bets added together, all the bets, wins and losses, all added together. He's at 1.2%. Pattern betting, on the other hand, at a sensible spread, is at 20%, 90,200 over an action which is about a quarter of Jason's. So, you know, we've got a situation here which is perfect for demonstration purposes for me. Most people, of course, don't care about any of this stuff, and I think Jason is among them. He's obviously enjoys tilting, he enjoys the drama, he enjoys the excitement. He must enjoy losing money because he does it quite a bit. So what can I say about that? The one thing I haven't done here is update the house edge chart, which is this nasty red one here. So we've got to go to 757 now. 757. And look at that, I mean, Christ. And what I don't understand with Jason is I do not understand why he stuck with this game. You know, I mean, my experience is that, you know, you'll come across a shoe from time to time which is just never going to change. And in all the years that I used to play regularly in Nevada casinos, I made friends with a lot of dealers. You know, I wasn't a lavish tipper like Jason can be from time to time, but I was a decent tipper. I mean, if I got a winning streak going, then the dealer did well along with me. But I mean, that is sort of like super high drama, really, isn't it? When you look at that, I mean, that is just, you know, what is he doing? The other thing that I find interesting, of course, is the card count. I keep an eye on the deck values, simply because I'm sort of interested in whether or not card counting is a good plan. And here you see Jason losing on a positive DV or deck value, losing 73,000 and winning 38,000 on a on a negative deck value, and me losing 23,000 on a positive deck value, losing much less. And then these numbers down here are the neutral deck value, no deck value, you know. So I made 115, nearly 116,000 on a zero deck value, and Jason made over 53,000, brought in won over 53,000 on a negative. But this thing, I mean, that's a surprise even to me. I knew this was a shitty couple of shoes, but bloody hell, you know, it's insane. But again, I say it's Jason's money, it's Mr. Handpay's money, it's his choice. And yes, he is definitely playing for an audience, and I'm not. I'm playing for money. That's what I'm trying. And of course, I'm not playing for money right now, because I'm trying to get the word out to as many people as I can possibly reach that random betting against random outcomes is a terrible idea. Having a great strategy like this is a terrific idea, but only if you can back it with a lot of money. And as it happens, Jason went further into the hole than I did, 32,000, nearly 33,000, and I went in the hole 18,000. And if you look at the action here again, his action was 1.6 million and mine was less than 500,000. So, you know, I mean, it's a big difference. But there you are. That's where we stand right now. I'm going to send Jason this little demo, this little presentation, because I don't think he's interested, but I want it to be on the record. That's really what I'm all about. I'm still shaking a bit from watching his awful experience and constantly thinking to myself, what is he doing? Why doesn't he just walk away? You know, I mean, for all the years that I've been putting these things up on the internet, I've been saying, okay, the rules are DBO, don't bend over. So, you know, if you find yourself up against a shoe which is just not nice to you, get away from it. You can't be sure that the next shoe is going to be better. And in fact, in this particular case, if he'd waited for the next shoe, it would have been just as bad. And then the third shoe was just as bad. But, you know, it's just a matter of keeping your cool, keeping your confidence, being relaxed and comfortable. He was having a terrible time through this session, and you could hear it in his voice. Why did he stay? I just don't understand it. I'm really at a loss. And yes, you know, pattern betting saw a couple of horrible dips. Well, actually 3 really large dips. You know, 40,000 is what this is showing here, which I don't think you can see. And the upper end of that was 77,000. So this was a 40,000 investment. And here we went from 68,000 down to 5,000. So that was a 73,000 dip. And here we're at minus 17, minus 18,000, and we started at 24,000. So that's a 42,000. So we got some big dips here, but we recovered because we stuck with the strategy. We didn't waver. We didn't do anything silly. We didn't tilt. We didn't do any of this mad stuff that, and Jason's not alone in that. You know, it's pretty much how all the guys who have gambling channels on YouTube, it's pretty much how they all behave. And they're entitled to. I don't argue with that. Obviously, it would be ridiculous for me to have any problem with that because it ain't my money. But right in front of you right now, you can see the big difference. It's huge. And I just wish that a few people, just all I need is a few 100,000 people to stop throwing their money away, and we can make a dent in casino profits, because the casinos basically exploit us. They exploit our stupidity, they exploit our greed, they exploit our ignorance, they exploit our need for thrills and excitement, and they're not holding a gun to our heads. They're not forcing us to fly to Las Vegas or wherever, Macau or wherever, or to go to any of the Indian casinos that are now littered all over the United States. I mean, that's fine. And I'm not sure about Foxwoods. I think Foxwoods might be an Indian casino, and I think Hard Rock is that Max of MG21 used to go to. I think that's an Indian casino as well, but I could be wrong. But anyway, this is the situation. This is the reality. If you don't have a widespread, you cannot hope to win. But you won't make money on the little bets. You will just piddle along, and then suddenly, the bets go high because things have swung against you. And even though every single bet faces basically, theoretically, numerically, mathematically, arithmetically, whatever, the same negative expectation, there are still these sort of ebbs and flows, the back and forth, that is what basically fuels pattern betting, and that's why I've called it pattern betting. It used to be turnaround, then it became target, but it's still the same strategy, it's still the same thing. But here you have a very dramatic example of what can happen if you bet dumb, basically. I mean, betting smart is a widespread. And, you've got to think about the fact that every casino has a whole range of narrow spread tables, sort of like 5 to 300 and 25 to 2,000 and 100 to 5,000 and 500 to 10,000 and stuff like that. They're narrow spreads because what they want to do is they want to stop people from using progressive betting. The casinos are relentless in their attacks on progressive betting, and the reason that they're relentless is because they know that progressive betting works. Progressive betting, did I say pattern betting before? Progressive betting works. Not the silly martingale where you risk a fortune, and when you win you end up with 1 unit profit. That isn't the way to go at all. This is the way to go. We end up with 20% hold of our total action. That's pretty damn good, I reckon. Anyway, I didn't mean this to go on for so long, but what the heck, my channel, I can do what I want, right? Jason's money. But no, that was horrible. I feel so sad for him, because think what you could do with 55,000. I mean, and it's just gone. It's gone. Dear oh dear.